Now, Laoise de Brún joins us, CEO and founder of the Countess. Hello to you, Laoise. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay? The line's a bit fuzzy. Sorry about that.
Yeah, not at all. So I'm not really familiar with your group. So what do you do? Who are you?
So we highlight the impact of gender ideology or trans ideology.
So you're a group, you're an organisation.
We're an organisation, we're fully incorporated, we're single issue, and we highlight the impact of gender self-ID and gender ideology on women, children and vulnerable and or LGBT young people. So what that means is the rights of women and children are immediately eroded as soon as any man who wants to can identify into a female-only space. And what we're seeing in Ireland is that this ideology is now impacting everyday life, not just in prisons where we have 3 men who are violent and 2 of them are sexual predators locked up in the women's wing in Limerick, but also in everyday life with regard to policies around sport. The LGFA recently said that any male over 12 can apply to play ladies Gaelic football. So this is impacting everyday life in Ireland now, and we've been highlighting this on the ground in Ireland for 3 years. And now I'm happy to say this conversation is happening out in the open in real life. So we're very grateful for this platform on East Coast Radio. Thank you so much. It's really important that we have, what we try to do from the very beginning is to provide a framework for a calm, reasoned, measured debate, which is what we need to do to discuss this highly contentious, contested, and can be, I must say, volatile, issue.
And you've difficulty with the SBHE in schools. So what is the best way, would you think, in schools to inform students of transgenders, for example, or non-binary people? What would be the best way?
I would say that it's important how we frame this. So are we saying, what we shouldn't do is assume that this is somehow neutral or even positive, when in fact this is
just to inform, just on the existence of, more than a judgmental view of, just the existence of.
So to be honest with you, what we're witnessing in Ireland is such a social contagion.
Sorry, just answer the question about trans. It, Laoise. I'm sorry. Just to say, how could we inform people of the existence of something if it exists?
Well, what I was about to say was, in nearly every school in Ireland, there will be a child who identifies now as trans. We are seeing an explosion in the number of adolescents who think they can change sex. 4,000% increase. If this was any social phenomenon, that would be exceptional. But these are young people who have comorbidities with other mental health issues, and they deserve and need our support.
So hold on a second. Are you telling me that there's somebody who feels for many years, and in olden days they had no options, but at the moment feel trapped in a body that there may be a girl and feel male, or a male that feels girl, that somehow they've got a mental condition?
What I am referring to is rapid onset gender dysphoria, which is what we are describing and discussing.
God, life is tough enough without all these sort of things. It's somebody who feels, do you know what, I don't feel actually the way that I'm supposed to feel. I was stereotypical into being a male or a female, but I'm not really that, and I just feel that I want to live my life as me, and the world seems a bit more open to accept me as me, without all these sort of labels and things that might be there.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, one of the issues with young people identifying as trans is that a huge majority, perhaps 80% of them are actually lesbians or gay or bisexual.
And those figures come from where?
To be told it was widely documented in various different test cases in the UK and elsewhere. It is beyond doubt that a vast majority of young people who are identifying as trans are same-sex attracted. So it is entirely wrong that an effeminate gay boy, young boy, an adolescent, is, rather than being told it's okay, you are male, and maybe you will go on to be attracted to other males. And that's perfectly fine. And you should be supported to be that person rather than being told, oh, no, that makes you a girl.
And told by whom? Would the voice in their head not tell them? Would the voice in their head not tell them what they're most comfortable with? And if they were in a situation where they felt comfortable about expressing themselves without, say, others telling them, you can't be this, you can't be that, or whatever, that they were comfortable in a society that was open to them, they could feel comfortable about living their life the way they actually feel.
But I think what's happening here is we're conflating being gay or lesbian or bisexual with being trans. They're completely different things. And what's
I wasn't conflating anything. I was only asking you a question about how do people who find life very difficult and they find that they're not comfortable in the way maybe society has told them up to this to be, and they want to just live their life the way they actually feel.
Sorry, I don't follow. So essentially what's happening is there's a lot of latent, internalized and external homophobia and lesbophobia that young people are facing. That has not gone away. And that is one of the main drivers and markers for rapid onset gender dysphoria. There has always been a tiny, tiny population of normally presented in early childhood. And these were typically boys who had severe distress with regard to their sex bodies. That population still exists. But what we're witnessing as a culture and across the Anglosphere is a 4,000% increase in young people who want to change sex. And unfortunately, the vast majority of these will also be girls. 80% are girls, and they will never have ever presented with any of this gender distress or confusion up until they hit their teens.
And then you're saying it used to be different.
I am a boy.
It used to be different before. Well, probably people felt uncomfortable discussing it before about what they really feel.
If it is innate and it is simply only coming to the fore because of its shift in cultural mores, where are all the late transitioning women? It would seem to me to be a logical effect of this, if it is only because cultural mores have become more relaxed, that all the women who have raised their children and are suddenly free from their gender roles that society ascribes to them that they never felt comfortable with. Why aren't they all transitioning? Why aren't we seeing droves of women who want to be men and want to...
Okay, and back to where we came in. What is the best way to inform children and older children of the existence of people who are who identify differently and feel differently?
Yeah. Well, I think firstly, it's really important. The first thing must be to have compassion. And obviously, we're not an anti-trans organisation. We want trans-identified people to live their best life. Obviously, if a man wants to present as a woman socially, that's fine. But, it isn't possible to change your sex. And unfortunately, if a young girl, for example, goes on testosterone...
Is this sex and biology? Are we talking about sex and biology? Or are we talking about inside somebody's head of expression of who they are and their soul as a particular gender? When you say change your sex, is that biological sex or what?
Yeah, obviously, even if you have plastic surgery and take cross-sex hormones, every cell will still be either male or female. And unfortunately, what we're witnessing is a vulnerable cohort of young people are taking those steps before they could ever possibly be capable of making such life-altering long-term decisions to become lifelong medical patients. So that's one issue. But also we're looking at, there's another issue side by side of social contagion where suddenly there's a whole group of children, young people who all believe they are
social contagion. This is the last time I heard social contagion, Leisha, was when I was growing up with some gay friends and people, who were ill-informed at the time used to say, be hanging around with those guys, you'll turn out gay yourself. Social contagion, I don't believe that exists. Because I experienced that in the 70s.
I would really strongly suggest that you read a book by
I just read from life experience of the people I hung around with who got a terrible time because they were gay, and then people used to say to me, you'll turn gay because you hang around with them. Social contagion. Jesus.
Yes, but the social phenomenon, or the clinical phenomenon, you could say, of rapid onset gender dysphoria is real, and it's been documented in the UK and in the US.
Okay, thank you for your time.
This is actually happening.
Laoise de Brún, thank you very much indeed, CEO and founder of the Countess.